Hello, good day viewers. Welcome to another biology presentation. So in this presentation, we are going to look at tips on how we can answer biology essay questions. So we know that biology essay questions normally comes in biology paper 2, section B. In section A, they just ask you to either label or define some of the terms or other questions. Okay, so let us look at some of these tips. So the first thing is we consider what tips do we need to put into consideration when answering biology essay questions. So the first tip is that you have to understand the question. That is the first tip. You must understand the question. You know what they're asking you to do. Apart from that, you need to answer now your essay, your question in essay form, which is well paragraphed. So you need to write your answer in paragraphs. Point number 3, you also need to take into consideration the number of marks that are allocated to the question. Why is this important? It's important so that you know how much effort you are going to put in or what you are going to write. Okay. Apart from that, you must also ensure that you use biological terms. This is very, very important. Okay, so those are some of the tips that you should consider when answering biology essay questions. Now, apart from that, let us look at some of the common words that are used in answering essay questions. So the common word we normally see is explain. We also see describe. We also see distinguish or differentiate. We also see discuss. So these common words, they are normally used when it comes to the phrasing of essay questions. Okay, so you have seen questions where they have asked you to explain the term transpiration, describe the circulation of blood. Okay, those are just examples. They can also ask you to distinguish or differentiate between sexual and asexual reproduction. They can also ask you to say, discuss the factors that affect the rate of what? Transpiration. So you need to put into consideration all these terms. Okay. Then we also have other terms such as examine, compare and contrast, state, also mention. So these are some of the common terms that are used when phrasing essay questions in biology paper 2, specifically section B. So let us look at how each of these terms mean. So we are going to start with the explain. So to explain means to make an idea or a situation clear to someone, or providing information about something to make it very clear for the marker or the examiner or anyone who's maybe reading whatever you are explaining about to understand. Okay, apart from that, we also see normally this word describe. So to describe means to give a detailed account in words about something to show what it's like. Okay, so meaning when they ask you to describe something, you must know that you are giving a detailed account, okay, in words about something to show what that particular thing is like. Okay, then to explain, you are just providing information about something to make it clear to understand. So it's very important that you take note of this. Okay, so apart from these terms, we also have terms such as distinguish or differentiate. So to distinguish is just to see or understand how certain things are different, or to show the difference between two things. Remember, I gave an example earlier on where I said they can ask you to distinguish between sexual and asexual reproduction. So when answering, you know that you want to show the difference between sexual and asexual different. You want to show how they are different in terms of function. Okay, so very important. Apart from that, they can also, you normally see this word discuss. Okay, we normally see this word discuss. So to discuss simply means to talk or write about a topic in detail, taking into consideration, account different issues or ideas. So when you are discussing, you talk about a topic in detail. So as you are talking about a topic in detail, you are also bringing in different issues, different scenarios, and different ideas because you are discussing. Okay, for example, they can ask you to discuss the factors that affect the rate of transpiration. So as you are discussing on each factor, you are explaining and bringing in new issues and new ideas, and you are writing about that topic in depth. Very, very important to consider those points. Okay, then we can also have other words such as examine. So to examine simply means to inspect thoroughly in order to determine their nature or condition. Okay, that's what examine is. Then we also have compare and contrast. So many a times when we see this, they can ask you to compare and contrast excretion and osmoregulation. Compare and contrast the role of excretion and osmoregulation in homeostasis. So here, as you are answering, compare is comparison. You look at how how those terms are able to function in a similar manner. Again, you explain how they are different, how they function in a different way. So to compare and contrast, we have to judge, suggest, or consider that something is equal, meaning that they are functioning in a same way, or they are different. So this is very, very important to consider as well. Apart from that, we also have a state where you tell something or set orally or in a written asset. Then we also have mention. So for mention, normally this one it actually comes in biology paper 2 section A. In section B, it's rare to find a question where they'll ask you to mention. I'm not saying it doesn't come, it does, but it's just rare. So let us now look at some examples on how we can use some of these terms. So we are looking at our first example, which is explain what would happen when a plant cell is placed in hypotonic solution. So first thing, understand the question. So how do you understand the question? The way they have used is explain, meaning that you need to provide information to make the reader or the marker understand what you have written about. So explain what would happen. So the keyword here, what would happen when a plant cell is placed in hypotonic solution. Another keyword here is hypotonic solution. Okay. So first thing, you need to explain, or you need to state or to define what hypotonic solution is. After you have done that, then you need to explain what would happen when a plant cell is placed in this hypotonic solution. So we understand that hypotonic solution is a solution that has more water potential than inside the cell. Okay, meaning that it even contains less solutes because it has more water potential. That is what hypotonic solution is. So when you are done explaining that, then you need to explain what is going to happen to the plant cell when it's placed in hypotonic solution. So as you can see, here we have a normal plant cell, then here we have a turgid cell. So this means that this normal plant cell, it was placed in a hypotonic solution, a solution with more water potential. So the plant cell is going to now gain water through the process of osmosis. So the plant will gain water. That is the first thing, not so. When you place it in hypotonic solution, to gain water through the process of what? Osmosis. So as we are explaining, don't forget this word, osmosis. It's a biological word. Don't forget it. Okay? Then what will happen is that the protoplasm now, that is the nucleus, the vacuole, the cell membrane, these are going to swell. Okay? They are going to swell. So to swell means they are going to expand. Okay? As when they expand, they are even going to pull, they are going to press against the cell. Okay, so when a plant cell gains water, this condition is what we call cell turgidity. Okay, that's why we are saying this is a turgid cell. It has gained water, and this protoplasm has swollen, it has expanded, pressing against the cell wall. Okay, so this is what you need to explain. So with this condition is called cell turgidity. Okay, so when the plant cell has gained more water, it doesn't burst because of the presence of the what? Of the cell. So how can you write now your essay? Remember, your essay, you need to write it in paragraph form. So you need to explain the keyword. Hypotonic is a solution. Hypotonic solution is a solution that has more water potential than inside the cell. You put a full stop. Then you need to explain what would happen to the cell when you place it in hypotonic solution. So you say when a plant cell is placed in hypotonic solution, comma, it gains water by osmosis. Osmosis, a keyword there. It gains water by osmosis. As a result, the protoplasm swells and presses against the cell wall. This condition is called cell turgidity. So the plant cell does not burst because of the presence of the cell. So you need to explain like this. Then you are going to score the marks that they have given you. So you can see that this question was carrying how many marks? 4 marks. So that is how you are going to score the 4 marks. Okay. So remember, this question is coming from the effect of osmosis in cells. So you need to know that you've got hypotonic solution, hypertonic solution, and isotonic solution. Okay, so very important to take note of this. So let us look at our second example. So in our second example, we have this question. The question reads, describe the role of the pancreas in blood sugar regulation. Describe the role of the pancreas in blood sugar regulation. So we know that this is the pancreas. So this pancreas, it's a gland, okay? It's a compound gland actually, meaning that it performs as an exocrine gland and as just a gland, okay? So this pancreas now, how does it, what is its role in the regulation of blood sugar regulation? So the keyword here is we have blood sugar regulation. So regulation simply means to maintain. So regulation means to maintain. Okay? So how do you maintain the blood sugar levels or the glucose levels? How do you maintain? What is the role of the pancreas? So we know that this pancreas consists of 2 cells. Okay? It has the beta cells, the same pancreas. Okay? It also has the alpha cells. Okay, this pancreas, it also has the alpha cells. So what will happen is that when the blood sugar levels or the glucose levels are too high in the body, the beta cells are going to secrete the hormone called insulin. So the hormone called insulin is going to be secreted, okay, so that this hormone will be able to convert excess glucose into glycogen. Okay. Then when the glucose levels are too low in the body, the alpha cells, they are going to secrete an hormone called glucagon. Okay. They are going to secrete an hormone called the glucagon. So this glucagon is now going to convert the stored glycogen back into what? Into glucose. Okay, so this is what happens. So remember, I've said you need to explain the keyword blood sugar regulation. So regulation, we have just said, is the maintenance. So when we talk of blood sugar regulation, we're talking about the maintenance of glucose levels in the body with the help of the what? Of the pancreas. So how can we write now the essay? So to write the essay, you are going to explain blood sugar regulation is the maintenance of glucose levels in the body with the help of the pancreas. So the pancreas, comma, will secrete an hormone called insulin from the beta cells, which converts excess glucose to glycogen when sugar levels are high. Then you say when sugar levels are low, the alpha cells secretes glucagon hormone, which converts stored glycogen back to soluble glucose. So this is what or this is how you can answer your essay that you are given. So when you look at the marks that you are allocated, you can see that it had 5 marks. So that is how you are going to score those 5 marks. Okay, if you explain well, you score those 5 marks. If you don't explain well and you are not writing your answer in paragraph form, you are not going to score marks. Okay, so make sure that you take note of that. Very, very important. Okay, so let us now move on. All right, so we now come to our question 2. So this is our question 2, which is question 2b. So our question 2b reads, explain the process of osmoregulation. So you have osmoregulation. So the keyword here is osmoregulation. Then you also have process. You explain the process of osmoregulation. So osmo, making the word osmosis. Okay, so we know that osmosis is the movement of water molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration through a selective permeable membrane. Then regulation, in the previous explanations I've said it means to maintain. Okay, so when it comes to the process of osmoregulation, when it comes to the maintenance of water levels and salt levels in the body, we know that the kidney plays a vital role. Apart from that, even the brain plays a vital role. Okay, and the hormones, they also play a very vital role. So this now means that when the osmotic pressure of the body fluids, okay, rises due to the low amounts of water, okay, which is caused by dehydration and the reduced water intake. Okay, so the pituitary gland now, the one that is found at the base of the brain, okay, is going to be stimulated. So this pituitary gland will be stimulated by the hypothalamus, okay, by the hypothalamus. So once it's done that, it's going to secrete an hormone called antidiuretic hormone. So this hormone now is going to cause the kidneys, okay, to be the kidney tubules in the nephron to be able, okay, to be able to make more water permeable. Okay, so when this water becomes more permeable, it's going to be reabsorbed back into the bloodstream. Okay, that is how you can explain. So we know that now osmoregulation is just the maintenance of water levels in the body of an organism. So how can you write now your essay? Look at the number of marks. It's carrying 4 marks. So you start by explaining the keyword osmoregulation, okay, where you are going to say that osmoregulation is the maintenance of water levels in the body of an organism. So when there are low water levels in the body, the hypothalamus in the brain will secrete or is going to stimulate the pituitary gland, okay, and the pituitary gland is going to secrete antidiuretic hormone, which forces and activates the cells of the kidneys to reabsorb more water. That is how you can explain the process of what osmoregulation, and you'll be able to get your 4 marks. So make sure that you are able to follow through this guidance, follow through the terms that are being used, then you'll be able to score good marks and you'll be able to write biology essays with less difficulties. So this is part 1 of the video. Wait for another part 2 that will be uploaded so that more terms that we have identified will be used with more examples. Okay, so we've now come to the end of our biology session. This has been your presenter, Mr. Mlenga. Bye bye.